Indeed, this morning, Obuasi is a little bit calmer compared to yesterday when the incident broke. A majority of the people are going about their daily duties, with the exception of school children who have been asked to stay home until tomorrow, if possible. If the tensions are a little bit calmer, then that's when the school authorities there or the leadership of the Ghana Education Service would allow the students to go back to classroom. But as we speak now, schools children for today and possibly tomorrow, they will not be going to school. But generally, when you compare it to what happened yesterday in the morning and today is a bit calmer. Just this morning is a bit calmer in Obuasi, David.
But tell us generally, what have you gathered? What really happened? What triggered this shooting to kill people? And first of all, we hear 7, we hear 8, we hear 9. How many people have lost their lives, Bright Quaicoe?
Well, for the confirmation, we are having a lot of numbers, but as we speak now, at least we can confirm that at least 8 people have been killed, because from even the locals themselves, they say there could be quite a number who, that are trapped in the concession. Probably they've not been found, but for now, we know that at least some 8 persons have been confirmed dead, and we have some numbers. Also at Confanoche who are receiving treatment. As of now, we don't know their condition, if they are alive or not. But as and when we get the updates, we would give our listeners the updates. But for now, we know that at least some 8 persons have been confirmed dead, David.
Bright, you talk about you don't know whether some people are still trapped in a concession. Is that to say that they had access to enter the mines and they were engaging in mining activity when the whole incident, started?
Okay, so not to say they were in the mine, but as in the area where they were. Maybe some of them, they were fleeing. It was helter skelter. So probably if someone was shot in the middle of the bush, probably they've not found him, or they are yet to locate some of them. That's what the illegal miners themselves, when I spoke with them, that's what they told me. But for the authorities, from the AGA and even the military, they have not really said anything of sorts now. But for the illegal miners, that's what they are telling me, that it could be that some numbers are also there. So until we have further information from that end, that's where we can confirm the actual number of people who have died or have been injured from this incident, David.
But in your trip to Obuasi, what have you gathered so far? What really happened?
All right, so from my interactions with a few of the leadership of the illegal miners, they tell me that for some time now, that's during successive governments, or for some time now, whenever they abandon concession, sometimes they give them access. Some of them, that's what they told me that sometimes they seek permission from the authorities in the region. That's, I think, RESEC, and also the some leadership in Obuasi, to have access to the abandoned concession at the mine. But unfortunately, from what I gathered, some of them took it upon themselves to breach or enter forcefully into the mine to access the concession over there. And so when I spoke with them, they were telling me that they had some of them had told me they had written letters to the authorities to grant them access to the mine, because this is an abandoned site that AGA is currently not using. And so they had wanted to go in there, and then if they could find something for themselves. Whenever you speak with them, they'll tell you that they were going in there for a livelihood, a source of livelihood, so they can come and support their family. It's not as if they were going into AGA itself to attack anybody or even go to the mine itself. But the abandoned site that was left some 7 years ago, that's where they were seeking to go in there and also have access to the gold deposit, or a few of the gold that is left, and then make a source of livelihood out of that. And when you speak with them, generally, it's just about having a source of livelihood. That's why they had to do whatever they did. on Saturday. We understand that it actually started Saturday around 7 p.m. That's when the people gathered themselves around the concession, and then around 10 p.m. they tried entering, and that's when they met the military personnel on guard, and they were asked why they were coming here, and the leadership who were leading the illegal miners told the military people, the military personnel, that they only came here to access, to find something, a source of livelihood for their families. They tell me they were actually on their knees with their hands up in the air and pleading with the military guard not to do anything that would endanger them and all of that. So according to the eyewitness I spoke with, he says that during the time when the leadership, their leadership, were on the ground pleading with them, he says that the commander then, the commander for the military, had received a call, and then right after the call, that's when he cocked his gun, and then they started shooting. And so for now, we do not really know if something was triggered. That's from the end of the illegal miners. However, the military, the Ghana Armed Forces, is also saying that they actually fired at their troop, and that's why they had to defend themselves by firing them back. So, David, that is what we've picked so far, and between the Ghana Armed Forces and also the eyewitnesses of the illegal miners, David.
Well, I'm sure that they have cited the statement released by the Ghana Armed Forces, and per what you're saying, it means that they disagree with what the statement captures. Am I right?
Yes, exactly. Some of them they say that's not really what happened. Some of them are saying they have explained what they saw. This is what happened, and the military, the Ghana Armed Forces, has also said that they fired at their troops. So most of them, they're not really agreeing to what the Ghana Armed Forces put out there.
That they were armed, and it was wrong for them to have carried arms into a concession that is owned by AGA. We lost Emmanuel Bright Quaicoe on that very line. We'll try and get him back. If what Emmanuel is communicating to us, you've gone to somebody's concession, and according to Emmanuel, you say you've knelt down with your hands up and you're asking that you be allowed to get to a livelihood. Why would you go there with some weapons? Why would you want to go there with weapons? Because that would also tell a different intention if that's what really transpires. So we try as much as possible to have Emmanuel Bright Quaicoe back for us to get some bit of understanding there. I would also like to know from Emmanuel Bright Quaicoe what the expectations are, because as we speak, we know that the presidency or the president has ordered an investigation into the happenings over the weekend. What are the expectations of the people of Obuasi, especially as they are saying that they don't believe wholly the statement released by the Ghana Armed Forces. So yes, Emmanuel Bright Quaicoe, if you can hear me, I was asking that per what you said, they are sometimes allowed to go or have access to the concession to do some mining for livelihood's sake. And they've written letters. I'm sure they might not have received some responses yet. But the latter bits of what you said, that they had knelt down with their hands up, pleading that they be allowed to go and get some livelihood. Did they also agree that they had weapons with them or on them that was wrong?
Okay, so from when I spoke with them, the eyewitness, they were telling me that they had gone there with their usual mining tools. You talk of the axe, you talk of the chisel, you talk of like any equipment that usually you should find from a small miner. That's what they were carrying. And so from them, they said they did not have any gun of a sort to retaliate what the military had done, but they just had the equipment that they were going to work with if they had access to the concession. And so that's what they told me, David.
But it beats my mind, because we know that many of the times these galamsey operators have weapons, guns, pompashi guns with them, but that's their word against that of the military. Do we know why they touched buses and destroyed property?
All right, so David, when it happened like that, because they went on rampage, it was a retaliation. They've had quite a number of their people being killed by the military, and even this is coming from military guarding the Anglo Gold Ashanti mine. So they took to the principal streets of Obuasi. We are talking about Obuasi East and then the Obuasi municipal itself. So in Obuasi East, they burned some vehicles of subcontractors of Anglo Gold Ashanti. We understand that they were the security men that were employed by Anglo Gold Ashanti to provide security for the community or even the mine itself. So when you go to Anglo Gold, you have some subcontractors. So the cars of these people or the vehicles of these people were torched. One at Tutuka when you go to Obuasi East, and then some few others at Obuasi municipal itself, specifically where I went to, we call the place JJ. If you know Obuasi very well, JJ. And then in the JJ incident, the car, you understand that the illegal miners asked the vehicle to stop, where the driver and even those he had taken, they were going to work, they were all asked to leave the vehicle, or they ran away, they bolted from the car. And now the illegal miners set ablaze the vehicle. And while the vehicle was in flames, as it was burning, from the eyewitnesses that were around, they said it moved straight and crashed into a nearby shop. And then it touched the shop and every property that was there. We understand it was items that you find in a local and provision shop. You should find there. Everything there was touched. And so it was in retaliation of what they had experienced at the abandoned concession, or their experience with the military. That's why they took to the streets to register their displeasure at AGA itself and also the military in the town, David.
No wonder the schools have been closed for today up until tomorrow or Wednesday. Now, do we know how many vehicles are involved here? How many vehicles have been touched?
From yesterday, we understand there were 4 vehicles of the security organizations that are in Anglo Gold Ashanti. So 4 of them were touched, David.
The statement from the presidency asking for an inquiry or an investigation into what happened, and the call for the sick or the injured to be catered for by the Anglo Gold Ashanti, and for them to also help in their burial. How are they taking the call for the investigation? What are the expectations?
All right. So generally, their expectation had always been that Anglo Gold or the authorities over there give them the body so they could bury them. Some of them are Muslims, so they are hoping to bury their colleagues who were killed during this particular incident. But the news that came to them that the president has directed them to have Anglo Gold Ashanti bear the medical cost of treatment, is coming as a relief for them, because most of them are, I would say, not of good standing in terms of financials. And so if the president has directed that Anglo Gold Ashanti bears the cost of their medical treatment, it has surely come as a relief to them. But generally, the sentiment about how Anglo Gold or even the military treated them is what they are not so appeased with, we are not so happy with. But with a directive from the presidency, it definitely has come as a relief for them. And they are hoping that investigations could actually occur into circumstances. One, they want to know who actually gave the command for them to open fire. That's when I even spoke with the 2024 NDC parliamentary candidate for Obuasi East. He was addressing the illegal miners. He told them very well, assured them that they are going to find out who gave the orders to the military to open fire on them. That's what he said. And he says that they are going to ensure that anyone that did that, gave the orders for them to open fire on them, they are going to make sure the person is brought to book. Because in most of the instances, I don't know if you could recall, there was a time where some miners were trapped at this very location. Usually when it happens like that, I understand that they do not open fire on them. It's either they arrest them and then detain them at the police station, and as and when your family could pay a ransom or even pay for a fine that came with it, you'd have to pay, and then you get your victim or your individual released onto you. But for them to open fire, that's what is confusing. And so they want to really know who actually gave the orders for the military to open fire on them. David.
Emmanuel Bright Quaicoe, thanks very much for your time. And if need be, we'll get back to you for some more. But thanks very much. And please be safe out there, okay?
Sure. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much for making time.